And now, aviation weather around Alaska.
Okay, satellite imagery for today, showing a little pressure here tracking up and weakening over the Kenai Peninsula, western Prince William Sound area there, and band of clouds up from the Kuskokwim Valley, extending northeastward there just north of Fairbanks on up into Canada. And some more moisture, weak low out here over the southern Bering Sea and the Aleutians. And the Panhandle early on here, first frame showing the remnants of that front. Still feeding moisture northeastward there in the southwesterly jet into the Panhandle, mainly central southern areas. And still have some rain going on up here along the North Gulf Coast. Satellite image or flying weather graphic here for Monday morning. Big improvement here over the Panhandle, VFR. IFR along the North Gulf Coast, marginal VFR into the Prince William Sound area, southern Copper River Basin, eastern slopes of the western Alaska Range, Kodiak Island, over the western interior, Seward Peninsula, North Slope, into the Brooks Range of marginal VFR to start. IFR, eastern central Arctic coast, and that extends through the Bering Strait, down into the northern Bering Sea, all the way down to the west central Aleutians, into Nunivak Island and the Pribilofs. For the afternoon, this area shifts back to the west a little bit, so Nunivak Island becomes marginal VFR, and up into the Seward Peninsula, some marginal VFR, mainly central and southern areas. Shishmaref, Buckland in the VFR zone. Kotzebue marginal, North Slope, and the western Arctic coast VFR. Interior Alaska looking pretty good. Just some marginal VFR left along the mountains here of southern Alaska. A little more extensive along the North Gulf Coast, Bristol Bay. IFR now pushing back in over Kodiak Island, all the Gulf of Alaska, and into the coastal areas of the Panhandle, then down across Prince of Wales Island, eastward to Misty Fjords. And for the morning time frame, Tuesday morning, marginal VFR, southeast coast, Gulf of Alaska up to the North Gulf Coast, Prince William Sound, and over the Wrangell Mountains here into the southwest interior and Kodiak Island, but VFR over interior Alaska, all the way up to the, excuse me, all the way up to the North Slope. IFR still lingering along the central and eastern Arctic coast. Several areas of IFR out here over the Bering Sea, down to the western Aleutians. And that kind of shifts around for Tuesday afternoon here. IFR now from Komodorsky Islands eastward to Atka, a little beyond. IFR not quite reaching Cape Newenham, but marginal VFR for the Yukon Delta across the Kuskokwim Delta, Bristol Bay, southern Kuskokwim Valley, and areas of south central Alaska, Prince William Sound, marginal, and the Coast Range, Kodiak Island, marginal VFR. VFR over the interior, and marginal for the southeast coast. Passes tomorrow, Anatuvik, VFR, same forecast for Adigan. Looking pretty good there as well. VFR flying conditions, Lake Clark and Merrill, another marginal VFR day for both passes as well as rainy, but windy. Go for VFR basically for tomorrow. And Isabel, same forecast, mostly VFR. Mentasta, VFR. Tanita, marginal VFR at times, VFR at other times, especially early in the morning. And for Portage, marginal VFR. Chilkoot and White becoming VFR. And for the freezing levels, 6,000 feet here, southern Bering Sea and the Aleutians, and then 10,000 feet, St. Lawrence Island up into the Chukchi Sea, with 8,000 feet across southern Alaska, and then this gradient again across the Panhandle supporting that strong southwest jet running 8,000 to 12,000 feet there. Icing could be some areas of considerable moderate rime icing here due to the next system coming up tomorrow and tomorrow afternoon into the southeast coast. Otherwise, just some areas of mostly light to isolated moderate rime icing, North Gulf Coast, southern Alaska down into Bristol Bay. Another batch up here of elevated icing potential up over the north and northeast interior. And jet stream tomorrow morning, still a low here, parked just south of Resurrection Bay. Actually, another one coming up, sliding northeastward, yet another one back here north of the Aleutians. And that keeps that strong southwest jet, 110 knots, right into the Panhandle. And south of the Aleutians, though, with the cooler air out there, and at 9,000 feet, not much in the way of any winds out here over the Bering Sea to the Aleutians or in interior Alaska. Strongest winds again coming out of the northeast Pacific right into the central and southern southeast coast, 45 to 60 knots, 3,000-foot winds. We've got low pressure here in the Gulf of Alaska, southern Gulf, and blowing around that, 45 to 50 knot winds, strongest wind staying off the coast of the Panhandle, but the whole thing edging northeastward. And as far as turbulence goes, look for considerable moderate turbulence on the increase throughout the day, especially along the coast here of the southeast coast. A light to isolated moderate turbulence working its way inland and up to the eastern North Gulf Coast. Smooth everywhere else.